Yes. Hello, welcome back to the channel. I love you. Thank you for being here. So I've actually gone back and forth on whether I should make this video for a while now. But since Avila just turned 1 year old, I figured, you know what? I think I've come to a point where I'm pretty confident with the decision that I came to ultimately when it came to how I fed her in the early stages of her life. Well, still kind of too now, but not as much now because she's eating regular food. And the hot topic, which is formula feeding. I just want to get straight to the point with this, a couple things that I took notes on. But the first thing I want to just get out there, this is 100% your decision, okay? The first couple of weeks were pretty brutal because I had come to a point where I was so frustrated with myself. I was frustrated with the fact that I could choose something other than breastfeeding. Ultimately, the way you choose to feed your baby is your decision, period. And it should be supported by those around you. Okay, if anybody has anything else to say about it, just bless them and be on your way, honestly. And that can come from family sometimes, and that is a lot more challenging. I thankfully never had that with my family. My mom was actually kind of encouraging me to still try, but even in that, I still felt just this huge pressure on myself, by myself, not by anybody else, to try and keep going. And honestly, after her first doctor visit ever, I checked out after what I heard. Basically, it was just that she had lost weight. Just hearing that, you just feel a bunch of emotions when you feel as if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're not feeding your kid enough. If I'm not producing enough milk, I mean, I didn't know what it was. I never read up, I never educated myself, which is the most important thing. Second to however you choose to feed your baby, the second most important thing is educating yourself on whatever decision you make, whether it is to formula feed or whether it is to breastfeed. I don't think you should let yourself off the hook just because you choose to formula feed and it's just as simple as measuring out formula and shaking it with water. There's so much more depth to it that I feel though as if I didn't do enough education on. So I highly encourage you, whatever you decide to do, you educate yourself on, okay? Number one, the decision is solely yours and your partner's. Number two, educate yourself. If those are the only two things that you get from this video, it's those two things. Okay? All right, so you know how people say, and I've said it before, fed is best or breast is best. I feel as if we say one, we're discrediting the other. Can I just be real transparent? I get really resentful when I see posts of moms. They're just sharing how proud they are of being able to breastfeed for as long as they have. And if I'm being honest, it kind of breaks me inside. So when I say fed is best, I feel as though as if in the back of my head, I'm really like coming at all of these moms who are able to breastfeed 100%, or they were able to overcome all of these obstacles. And it just feels as if I wasn't strong enough like them. What was the point I was trying to make? I don't know, but there are people on one side, on the other side, who maybe wanted to breastfeed but cannot because of whatever decision, medical conditions. Maybe somebody had breast cancer and they're not able to. Maybe someone had a sexual trauma, something. I mean, it can be so many different things. And I feel as if we say one or the other, it's discrediting everybody else in the middle. I mean, you could say too that we're just a bunch of sensitive sissies and we just need to get over it and do what's best for our kid. But at the end of the day, we're very sensitive, emotional human beings. And I'm not just talking about women, okay? I'm talking about dads out there too. There's so many different parts to the story for each individual person, for each set of parents. It's again 100% your decision. Yeah, so I don't want to discredit anybody in between on either side, and I want to be done with feeling resentment against mamas who have been able to breastfeed 100%, because that was my goal from the very beginning. So now we're going to go into a little bit of a backstory on what ultimately led up to the decision of 100% formula feeding Havila. Well, sort of, kind of. From the beginning, I mean, when we found out that we were pregnant, I was set, okay? 100% breastfeeding, strictly. Talking about it like it was gonna be a walk in the park, right? First kid, like I thought I was just gonna naturally fall into it and naturally know what I was doing. No, that wasn't the case. Almost everybody that I talked to, I told, and when they asked, I said, oh yeah, 100%, 100% breastfed. Oh yeah. So I'm saying all of this, right? Now, I sort of did a little bit of education on breastfeeding. I don't know what subjects I really read up on or educated myself on, but I know that breastfeeding was not one of them. Because honestly, that's what I thought. I just thought I would naturally fall into this habit of taking care and feeding my child. Like it was gonna be a walk in the park, and it wasn't. I set the bar so high for myself. And when I couldn't meet that expectation, it destroyed me. It really did. And then when we had her first doctor visit and they told me she had lost a couple of pounds, but that it's okay because that's what happens normally, right? I didn't even hear the second part of what the doctor said. All I heard was she had lost something, and I lost my mind. I just went downward after that, and I said, I can't. There's just no way I'm going to keep making my baby depend on me to provide her with something that I clearly cannot provide right now. And that's all that I heard. All I heard was she had lost weight, and I never heard anything after that. It was just like a ring in my ear after that. But they do say that it is normal, that is normal, that they do lose weight afterwards, but it's important that you keep whatever. I honestly, like I said, I didn't hear anything after they told me that she had lost weight. And it was then that we just decided, no, 100% formula fed. And I don't even know, I can't even begin to tell you how many sleepless nights I lost having to come to the decision of formula feeding or like supplementing, you know, because there's supplementing too. You don't have to 100% formula feed. You can breastfeed and supplement also, and there's pumping. There's so many different ways you can do it now. For me, it was, no, I'm either 100% all into one or the other. But again, after hearing that from the doctor, it was just, I really believed that I just failed completely. And there was no way I was going to risk her health on the fact that I may or may not produce enough milk for her to live off of. And so that's what ultimately made me decide, nope, 100% formula feed. So I don't want to have any more resentment though when I see these breastfeeding posts. I really don't. I'm done with having pain about that or having offense about that, not towards the mamas that post, but towards myself. Maybe not so much offense, but maybe just regret and pain and frustration and anger towards myself because of coming to that decision and because of not being able to perform as maybe I should be able to naturally. And then on the topic of feeding, you know, it can become like an icebreaker type of thing where you just, you know, they casually ask you, oh, are you breastfeeding? Now, again, this comes back to how sensitive we are as a generation or whatever the fact, but that's just where we are, okay? That's just where we're at. And I know we're just offended at every little thing that people ask us or talk about. I mean, when it comes to something as sensitive as this, because this is sensitive, this is really personal. I don't know. I would just, at one point, I had just become so confident already in her being 100% formula fed that I just said, no, we're formula feeding her. But when I think about it, it's always a breastfeeding question. It's never a, are you formula feeding her? It's always a, are you breastfeeding? So it's kind of like just natural for people to ask because again, it's supposed to be this natural thing we're supposed to be able to do. No, it's not. It's always, are you breastfeeding first? And then I have to respond, no, formula feeding. And then, you know, it goes from there. But it's funny how it's just naturally in conversation, like an icebreaker type of thing. They ask first breast, right? If they're on the breast. So don't get offended, y'all. You have to be confident in the decision. You'll probably feel guilt. You'll probably feel shame. I'm here to help encourage you to not go down that way because there is absolutely no need to. If I can help you avoid all of that, just save y'all from that type of mentality of regret. Sorry, I had to move locations. But I can't remember where I was. Even with my husband too, it was his first time everything. And so I kind of had to encourage him to encourage me. Please tell me that it's okay that we're doing this. Please encourage me in this. Please encourage me in that because I needed it. For the both of you having to discover all of these different firsts and all of these different new stuff, it's really important to just encourage each other, encourage each other, encourage each other, and just tell each other how good of a job you're doing, even if you know inside you really don't know what you're doing. If this is your first time around, or even if it's your second time around, you just never know what the situation is going to be. I believe that it's important to constantly be in your partner's corner and just cheering them on no matter what. And that's what I had to kind of teach my husband to do, because he wasn't really brought up that way. So I had to teach him while I was trying to teach myself at the same time. And that was a little bit more of a challenge, because it was just more of a challenge. You probably don't know what you're doing, but if you have somebody in your corner who's just, go babe, you got it, you can do this, no matter what you decide, no matter what we decide, God is still good and the Lord is going to bless us, period. We had our first on Infamil Pro Advanced, and then we also used the pre-made bottles for when we had to go out, run errands, or we had some type of Bible study. Did they have a nipple already? No, it was the pre-made ones where it was capped. You just had to provide the nipple. So we used those in the first couple of months. Now we're on Similac. We're on the one that Wix supports. I don't know if you're familiar with Wix. It's like the little blue container. But see, she's kind of weaning off of formula now because she's eating regular foods. Now, the question I was asking myself earlier was whether or not I will formula feed baby number 2. If and when baby number 2 ever comes along. And the answer is probably yes. Probably yes. Even just breastfeeding, I just felt really uncomfortable. God, dare I say? And that was another thing that kind of brought me down too, was again with my setting the standard, or setting the bar really high for myself to 100% breastfeed my baby. The fact that it felt uncomfortable to me was even more destroying. So it's just, oh my God, it was just like so many different things. Yeah, it was a mess. I'm just thankful to God that we're at where we're at right now. If and when baby number 2 does come, I think I'll be a little bit more prepared. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a little bit more confident. Prayerfully, everything goes well with second baby delivering and no health complications or anything. But that will be for then. And I will just leave whatever we decide then for then. Okay? I just wanted to share my heart, honestly, because now that Havela's 1-year-old, it just seems like yesterday I was crying at my sister's house in my niece's room because my baby was crying her head off and trying to position her to feed, and she just was not having it. That just seems like it was yesterday. And the fact that we've made it a whole year now, I don't even know. I kept the baby alive for a whole year. That is a miracle in and of itself, okay? I don't know. Sometimes I just look at my husband and I think, how the heck did we keep this thing alive? It was mainly the beginning couple of months that I wanted to address, because that was when it was the hardest for us. It was the hardest for me emotionally. And when it comes to postpartum depression, for me, this was my postpartum depression, was the fact that I had to come to a decision to formula feed my kid. That was postpartum depression for me. Other than that, everything was great. I mean, I was already kind of confident with how my body looked already, even in pregnancy. I was like, yeah. And then, you know, you get the pouch and the tummy and stuff that comes with the baby after baby comes out, and you have like this big pouch. I already had a pouch, so that wasn't so much of an issue for me because I was already kind of big and curvy. But it was the feeding that was my postpartum depression. Yeah, you know, it comes in different waves for different people, different times, I guess. But for me, that was it. I'm thankful that I got to breastfeed her though for a little bit. Even my recovery stage after having baby, when I had my period, that wasn't even depressing to me. It just felt like a huge period. But yeah, it was the whole feeding thing that was my postpartum depression, I guess you could say. But thankfully, you know, my husband really helped me. My family really helped me. Yeah, I kept telling myself, no, I'm trying, I'm still trying. And I'm thinking to myself, no, Kapua, you gave up a long time ago. I breastfed her for, I want to say a couple months. I don't even know. It was such a blur because I was already supplementing formula and breastfeeding, formula and breastfeeding. I think I've said that I breastfed her for the first 6 months, 4. No, I don't even think I made it like 3 months. If I'm being honest, I think I breastfed her for a couple weeks. Well, yeah, it had to have been a couple weeks because the doctor appointment, they try to schedule their first doctor's appointment like a week after they're born or something like that. So after doctor said what she said, it kind of went like downhill from there. And I think I still trying to breastfeed, but I know that she was mostly getting her milk from formula. Like I said, just 100% commit to your decision and just rock it. So that's pretty much how I came to the decision of formula feeding her, kind of the backstory and what I would encourage another mama who's kind of in between, was just to encourage you and help you out and be in your corner no matter what you do. If you decide to breastfeed, period, 100%. If you decide to formula feed, period, 100%. Be confident in your decision and educate yourself. Now, I have a couple favorite products that we've used that have helped us along our formula feeding journey. First is the Baby Brezza Pro Advanced, okay? This is pretty much essential, but there are pros and cons, okay? The pros, it instantly makes a warm bottle, no need shaking, no need nothing. I never experienced this, but that's probably because I never checked. But one of the issues that I heard another mama have was the formula water ratio is not equal. And I think this mama said that it would measure out more water than it did formula, which is not good because it's the formula that fills baby. So you might want to check up on that. The second con is the maintenance. There's so many different parts to it. And if you know formula, once it makes contact with water, it starts to harden. So that's why it's important as soon as you're going to prepare a bottle that you swirl it right away. I actually would recommend swirling instead of shaking, but you have to swirl the bottle pretty aggressively because it'll still have chunks. I've heard that swirling is better than shaking because shaking will make bubbles and that's not what you want. They'll be sucking in air or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Like educated, not really. So that's why I'm telling you guys, educate yourself. Try to swirl the bottle instead of shaking so much. Oh, well, the price, it is pretty pricey. It's about 200, but I think Connie got it on a Black Friday deal, so it was a little bit cheaper. On the maintenance, there's a part to it that you have to clean every day. Not even just every day. I mean, after every 3 to 4 bottles. You gotta clean it, you gotta clean the inside, take out the spout part and clean that part. Oh my gosh. I mean, at this point, we hardly even use it because she doesn't even take that many bottles, but for newborns, when you first bring them home, lifesaver. You're gonna have to maintain it almost every single day. But I guess if it beats having to prep a bottle manually, it comes in handy. We didn't get the Brezza till Christmas, so she was about 6 months already. And I thought to myself, why did we wait this long to get this thing? Honestly, it's a game changer, okay? But that water to ratio, I don't know. I would even make a bottle manually. So if you're making a 2-ounce bottle, you put the formula in yourself and then try to make a 2-ounce bottle with the Brezza and see how it compares in thickness. Just do your own research that way. So that's the Baby Brezza Pro Advanced. The second is the Amazon Accmor Formula Dispenser. I love this thing, okay? You don't have to use it exclusively for formula. This one, what's awesome is that you can measure out formula and dispense it that way. It's just little circle stacks, I guess, that connect when you twist them onto each other. And there's little dividers that you can use to kind of keep the formula down or just to keep it contained. And then it comes with the spout and the cap. You measure out the formula however much you need in these dispensers, and then you just move the cap. When you use one of the containers, you just move it down and you put the spout on the next one that's full, and so on and so forth. That thing, game changer also. It saves so much time from having to measure out and scoop each individual scoop into the bottle. You just twist the cap open, tap, tap, tap into the bottle, done. It comes with, I think, 2 sets for less than 10 bucks. Next product is Tomo bottles. Expensive, but very good. It has very little parts to clean. Con, the numbers on the side of the bottle are translucent or clear. So if you're trying to make a bottle manually at night, it's pretty impossible to see. But the fact that you only have 1, 2, 3 parts to wash, or 4 including the cap. At first we were using Dr. Brown's bottles. So many different pieces. I don't know. I wouldn't go back to those. I know it's made by a pediatrician. It's recommended by pediatricians and doctors, but I honestly just wouldn't go back to Dr. Brown's bottles. Tomos all the way. Next, Oxotot Space Saving Drying Rack. Space saving, 100%. I've showed it in videos before. I'll even link my baby product must-haves video for you guys in the description, so check it out. All right, that's about it. That's it for our formula feeding journey video. I hope it encourages you. I hope it blesses you. Be confident in your decision. Educate yourself. Okay, you don't need to explain your decision to anybody. Just be confident in it. I think that's the most important thing. I hope you enjoyed. If you like any type of mama topic videos, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and consider subscribing because it's free. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I upload. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Wait, huh?